But what I want to elaborate on what Brother Elijah said was that we have been trained, we've been led, bred, fed for failure for the last 2,200 years, and we've been taught that we're not to depend upon ourselves, our human nature, to provide for ourselves. We've been taught, whooped, beat, and trained to depend upon other people to take care of our own being. And in order to stop this cycle, because it's been going on for the last 2,200 years, day after day, year after year, month after month, generation after generation. Our children would do the same thing next year if we don't stop right now. We need to stop right now and get a hold of ourselves to see exactly where we're going, so we know where we're going, so where we'll be tomorrow.
Who's teaching us to be dependent on others? Are you saying that we're being taught to depend on others? We're being taught to be, I guess, act like children. So I'm saying, who's teaching us? You know what? Because he was saying, excuse me, let me finish. He was saying that we miseducation. I was saying, who was oppressing us? He said we're oppressing ourselves through miseducation. Are you saying we're teaching ourselves to be dependent on others?
No, we have been taught for the last 2,200 years to depend upon other people. And it's time for us to stop. Who did this? A philosophy. As a matter of fact, let me break it down in a better way, in a scientific way. Science has said there's a cause and there's an effect. The reason why the businessman is making a big noise about what's going on is not because people are not shopping black. It's the effect of people not shopping black. The cause of us not shopping black is because we don't have self-discipline within ourselves. When you see other ethnic groups shopping with each other, it takes a certain discipline to go shop with your own. Now, when you see us as a people pass up our own stores to go to somebody else's stores, that's a mind that has been trained to do what is, that's a mind that has been trained to do that. Then you can't, it's just like a computer. Once you put a disk in a computer, you can't make that computer do what it is dictated not to do.
Interesting. If you've just joined us, you've tuned in to Lay It on the Line. I'm your host, Hassan Karim. Today our guests are Jalal Zarif, Karim Muhammad, and Elijah Muhammad. Well, gentlemen, what's the solutions? I mean, is the solution to our education is shopping black, or shopping with African Americans, or trading with African Americans? Is this a solution to our miseducation also? What's the solution to our miseducation?
Allow me to say this here. One of the solutions, not the only solution, no one person have the answer, but one of the solutions is that we have to take back and look at history, which is something that we don't like to look at. When we look at history, history tells us the truth. And most people don't like to talk about history. Yesterday was history. Just yesterday, just passed, the 18th was history. If we would take daily analyzations of our own self, which was yesterday or 2 hours ago, that's looking at history. So when you study that, you can see your mistakes. You can learn from your mistakes. Now, we're sitting here, we're talking about a problem. I was listening to KKDA, the Willis Johnson show the other day, and a guy came across, and he, in so many words, was trying to condemn Willis Johnson for having black issues coming across his radio program. And I sat there and listened, and it sort of bothered me and disturbed me, because what he was trying to do was instill the same fear in this man that I believe that was in himself. Now, again, I'm saying that this fear comes from slave effect. There's no one that is perpetrating directly any physical or mental abuse upon us. Things that is being done now is through influence. You asked us how we're being educated to oppress ourselves. We're doing that through examples. We're setting poor examples for ourselves. Today we're setting some of the worst examples that we can possibly set in the trends and the styles of our life. I hear people condemn very areas such as South Dallas, areas that they come from. Once they get a little money and doing a little better, they condemn those areas. Matter of fact, they even say they don't ride through these areas. But this is where the great stronghold of our people is at. Now let me elaborate just for a minute. Just bear with me for a second, because it don't take no more about a minute or two. Another thing that we have to look at is when we look back at history, we had great men that came through. And today they would be ashamed of us. You see, when I seen that man trying to condemn what Willis was doing on his show, I seen a man who was just like back in slavery, who feared saying things among the slave master. We still have that same fear, but it perpetrated into us. Realize that when we talk, that this is not a surface problem. This is an in-depth problem that we're talking about. It's not going to be changed overnight. If we never talk about it, the problem never goes away. We're being miseducated through the fact that nobody talks about the problem. Nobody wants to talk about the problem. What do we fear? What type of repercussion do we fear? We fear losing the prestigious job that we call prestigious, but in reality it is not prestigious. If we would do like the brothers are sitting here and say, begin to create our own jobs, be able to establish and spend among our own self, then we created jobs among our own self. Then we have no threat from speaking out. Look, there's great men that gave their life to this cause. Gave their great life to this cause here, this cause of trying to bring about a change in this society. And if those men were alive today, they would have bad words to say about us.
Interesting. We have a couple of calls, Holden. We're going to take some right now.